Welcome to another empowering episode of Chaos to Calm with Your Finances, where we're going to dig deep into spiritual, mental, and physical of our finances and our well being. We are here to show you how to navigate the twists and turns of your financial journey and help you transform that chaos into calm. I'm Saran Baker. I'll be your guide on this incredible journey to cultivate an abundance mindset that will revolutionize your relationships with money. But it's not just me talking. I want to hear from you too. So don't be shy. Say hello in the chat, or you can become a part of our incredible community going from chaos to calm by going to joinsaran.com, where we are a group of like minded women where we are creating wealth and bringing calm into our lives. So get ready to shift your financial chaos into calm. And right now, I'm going to bring on a wonderful guest who is with us today, and we're going to get started. So, today I have the pleasure of having the beautiful and vivacious Natalie Shan Spellman. I don't want to mess it up. You had two Shan Spellman. She is, of course, a native. She lives in my hometown of New York, not far in Long Island, and I love that about her. She has a beautiful family, husband, and kids, but not just that. She has an incredible story, and I'm not going to be giving you a spoiler on it, but let's just say this. She calls herself the Greatness Activator. And so we're going to activate some greatness in our finances today. And we're going to just get to know Natalie. And she's going to talk to us about how she's gone from chaos to calm in various areas of her life that have helped to shape her journey and allow her to be able to be the Greatness Activator. I know I need a little extra activation. Natalie, say hello to the people.
Hello, everyone. So I'm just so grateful to be here today, just to want to share my story and my experiences with you. But I'm also grateful for Saran to have me on her show so I could actually speak to you guys because this is a powerful conversation that we all need to have, and I'm just excited to be here to be a part of that conversation.
Yeah, so let's tell the people a little bit about you. I was reading about you, and I know you have this awesome book to drop stress like a hot potato. But you got a military background,
Yes,
you got a
ma'am.
medical background doing occupational therapy. I
Yes.
mean, tell me a little bit about that.
So my journey started out in Jamaica. I'm from Jamaica originally. So I came here, and before you know it, I just met a recruiter, and he was like, you know what? Marines. He was like, I cannot give you money, but I can give you those intangible traits of honor, courage, and commitment. And that is what the Marine Corps is all about. So the crazy thing was that I was originally signed up with the Army, United States Army, and they guaranteed me $50,000 and a 2-year contract. But the Marine Corps recruiter came in and he sold me a dream about being the few, the proud, the United States Marine. But guess what? We can't give you any money. 4 years of your life, no money, but you could become a United States Marine. So I traded money for that dream.
Sounds like
So
chaos to me.
you could tell my relationship with money, right?
Oh, forget about the money. Sell me the dream.
Tell me the dream. And that's the story of my life. I'm all about it. I'm a dreamer, by the way.
Yeah.
So I took him on that charge and I went to the Marines. When I got to the Marines, I was like, what did I sign up for? This is the hardest thing I ever had to do. I'm from Jamaica. I'm calm. I'm chill. I'm always laughing. A very happy kid. And then the Marine Corps is the total opposite of my identity. So before you know it, they broke me down and they had to rebuild me into their version of what they wanted me to become. And I did that. Took a lot of hard work, but I eventually did that. So the beautiful thing is that I spent 4.5 years in the Marines. I did a fantastic job. I've learned so many things. I went to Iraq, was in a war zone. But the crazy thing about it is that as a woman in the military, you experience a lot of challenges. There's a lot of trauma that goes with that. In the military, military sexual trauma is a big thing. So in my environment, there was a lot of that going on. So by the time I left the military, Came back home, went to a war zone. When I came back home, I was a hot, hot mess, but no one knew it because you're a Marine. You don't share your feelings, you don't share your pain. So for years, I went on as if my life was okay. Went to college, got my degree, got married, had a baby, and my life was in chaos. But at the same time, too, went to college, got my degree, and I was a professional. But my relationship with money and every aspect of my life was just a mess. And before you know it, I decided after I got sick, because I was carrying the load of my trauma, my guilt, my shame, I couldn't function in life. And I was having miscarriages. I was in the hospital because there was pain in my body because no one knew what was wrong with me. But I was actually suffering in silence, unbeknownst to my family members and my friends. And I got sick. And when I got to the hospital, my body wasn't working. The right side of my body stopped working. And they thought it was a stroke. And it was just crazy where I was like 34 years old, can't walk, can't do much of anything. And when they did my tests, it was scary. But before you know it, a group of people started praying for me, and before you know it, I was restored. I was healed. I was miraculously healed. And in that moment, I was like, you know what? Why is it that I'm spared? Why is it that I have a second chance to live? Why is it that I'm still here? And this is when my life really started. I felt the need because I was spared. I had a second chance to live. That there has to be a reason. So I felt the need that when I leave this hospital today, I'm going to go on a journey. I'm going to search. I need to find the antidote to help anyone with their mental, emotional, spiritual stress, anyone who's suffering in silence, because I've been that person. So that took me on a journey where I did all the research, listened to top leaders, thought leaders, did all the research, got all the information. And I was like, yes, now I could share my information to the world. So what I did was that I started a online business trying to sell spa products, stress management products. This is the girl with the dream, but has no business skills whatsoever.
Yeah.
Before you know it, I spent over $10,000 in products. They came, it was delivered to my house, and I panicked. And I tried a business, and I just didn't sell anything. And I still have over $20,000 of inventory because I didn't know how to sell. I had a dream, but no skills in terms of marketing and sales. And of course, the business, of course, failed because I had no idea. My relationship with money is just crazy.
Wow. That is a powerful, powerful testimony. And I love the key point you said is, why was I spared? Why am I back here? Right? I have a story to tell. You have a story to tell, because just that was so powerful, in that you were able to go through it, overcome it, and now you're here with me helping to empower more women and
Yeah.
more people, to get them to the place where they can be have some calm. So
Yes.
I wanna hear more, just a little bit about, the money, right? You said, I heard a couple things. You spent $10,000 on a business you weren't sure about. You didn't realize the sales was important, right? And you have all this inventory, but now here you are again starting another business. What changed? What took you from chaos to calm, to feel like now I can do this, I can go in this direction?
Well, this is business idea number 4.
Okay.
And remember the theme I keep saying, I'm a girl with a dream.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since I was a little kid, I just felt empowered that one day I'm going to grow up and I'm going to impact the world on a global village. I'm a little kid writing these words, positively impact the world in a global village. And every essay I would write from my elementary school days, high school, and college had those same exact words because I had a dream.
Yeah.
But I wasn't quite sure what the dream is. And spa business I thought was my dream because I felt the
Mm-hmm.
need that I need to find the antidote for stress and emotional well-being. But I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing with that. It didn't light me up as much. Then I switched to, before that, I did online marketing. I did, back in the day, I used to set telephone systems. I was always selling something. My sister and I tried to do the Cutco knife thing. I could tell you multiple network marketing business I've
Right, right,
tried,
right.
and they all failed. But in the last 5 years, I switched from spa online products with Shopify. Then I switched to another money making business. That didn't pan out to nothing. And I kept switching. And when I realized that there was a big component that was missing, I
Mm-hmm.
was not aligning my vision with my business plan.
Yes, yes. Okay, I love
So
it.
the beautiful thing is that I love this stuff right here. And this is the point I'm at right now where I can feel the calm and peace and the excitement. Because right now, what I'm doing right here in this moment is that I'm living my dream. My dream is to speak, my dream is to empower, my dream is to transform lives. And
Yes,
this makes me come alive. And
yes.
the mistake that a lot of us make when it comes to business, we're thinking about the quickest way to make a buck, the quickest
Right.
way to make money. But no, 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 no. If it doesn't give you life, if it doesn't empower you, if it doesn't excite you and there's passion building up on the inside of you, maybe that's not the right avenue to take.
Yeah.
So, what I've discovered is that when I start to align my dream of being on stage, speaking, touching lives, and empowering people, I recognize that my financial skills need to be in alignment.
Right.
I now have to build up the frequency where
Mm-hmm.
my emotional state, my mental state, my spiritual state of being needs to be in alignment with my dream. So I'm on the same frequency. So when
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the same frequency, it's easy to flow and achieve all my financial success that I've envisioned. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm in alignment.
Listen,
I'm in
I
alignment.
love
Woo!
all of it.
I'm
Listen,
in
you could have wrote
alignment.
my bio. You could have wrote my, but I love it. One of the things I always, and I learned it early on, but one of the things I, you know, learned early was, what would you do for free? Right?
Yes.
Like, if money were no object and you could
Uh-huh.
just do it, and what would you do for free? And that's where we'll find our passion and our joy and our ability to stay up late to get it done,
Yeah.
to put some elbow grease around it.
Yes.
And I think a lot of us, I like what you said, we people are chasing the dollar, right? Sometimes when they go into business or certain things. But when you come into this entrepreneurship space, it's more about what gives you a fire.
Yes.
And what gives you a fire, how's that fire going to translate to help someone else? Because the more people you can help, the more money you can actually make. It's not
Precisely.
about it's not about making the money, because if you can help a million people with a 99-cent product, you're still a millionaire, right? And it's about finding that thing, filling that gap, and making a space that
Yes.
people feel heard and they have a problem solved, or they have a need met, or they have a way forward
Yes.
that creates that energy of abundance. And I love you use the word frequency.
Yes.
One of my virtual mentors, like you, I get into all kinds of very powerful stuff because I'm about elevating myself as much as possible, because I like to elevate people. So you can't elevate people if you're in the basement, right? And um, one of the guy's name, his name is Joe Dispenza, right?
Okay.
He's a
I love Joe. I
he's a
love
medical
Joe. I
he's a
love
medical
Joe.
doctor, and
Yes.
he always talks about creating from the field. And a lot of people don't understand that, but when you go into his work, and if you listen to his podcast or you read
Yes.
his book, what he's really saying is creating from your faith, bringing from your faith to reality, going
Yes.
to that mustard seed and
Yes.
building the bush. He's saying that nothing exists until you create it in your mind.
Yes.
And he's basically really breaking down some of the universal laws. The first universal law is all is mental. And so if you control your mind, you create your reality.
Yes.
And and I think that so many of us, we create our reality,
Oh,
and
yes.
it's not the reality we want, because we're not conscious that we have the power to create that reality, right?
Oh, my goodness. This is
And
from the
I love
first
what you
talk.
said, because in your story, you told me basically there was a period you weren't conscious that you were in control of creating your story.
Mhm.
And then you went to a place where you became conscious that you controlled the story, and this is what you did. And so that's the amazing part about all of this. And for some people, they're going to have to hear that kind of message 15 or 20 different ways,
Oh
right?
my goodness. That is so
Um,
true.
and I mean, I was talking to another young lady I was interviewing earlier today, and she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get back to you on some other things because I do help her with her finances." And I said, "Well, listen, I'm not gonna pressure you because you know I'm here when you need me. And the thing is that what I presented to you may be the right thing for you, but it may not be the right time for you. And so when your time changes, you may come back to it and be like, she told me to do this 18 months ago. Let me do it now." So I love, love, love that. So tell me a little bit about how you help people. Now wait, let me go back to the book. I want to talk about this drop the hot
Oh,
potato. Drop stress like a hot potato. So tell me a little bit about the inspiration for the book. Tell me a little bit about, and I'm going to order one. I didn't get a chance to order one before our interview, but tell me a little bit about it. What can our readers expect? What can our listeners expect from reading this book?
oh, oh my goodness. So I'm such a visionary. It's just amazing where I have to create something that's immersive. So when I first started out on this book, it was to find the antidote to deal with emotional mental stress. And when I did all my research as a clinician, I tend to do treatment plans and activities all the time. I create programs for patients all day long and I set goals. So when I went to do research, that was something I learned in college, how to do research. And that's my heart and passion. I geeked out on research. So when I went to do my research, I know as a mental health therapist, we tend to do goal setting, we tend to do meditation, we tend to do these band-aid approaches to handle stress. And I'm like, I had issues with that because as a clinician, why was I stressing out all the time? Why was it I was actually coming home and crying all the time? Why is it as a clinician who help people every single day to get well, I was actually struggling. And I recognized that something about our techniques, they were actually flawed. And I realized that I need to get to the heart of things. I have to get to the heart of the matter. And in terms of my research, it started out one way, but I recognized that the antidote for true stress management is to find your purpose in life. On the flip coin of stress is purpose. Because the reality is that when you're going through a hard time and you're struggling with your past and your emotional trauma and everything you're going on, your thoughts tend to ruminate. And you know this, your thoughts tend to ruminate, and there's an emotion that's attached to the thought. And when that thought, it affects the way you act. And it creates a whole biochemistry in your body that causes you to be stressed out and it causes diseases, and the list goes on. But when I recognize through research and my own experimentation with my own life, when you find your purpose in life, you're no longer internalizing everything. You're not internalizing your pain. You're now focused on the bigger picture of your life. You're more focused on your vision. You're more focused on your assignment. You're more focused on why you're here. When you're preoccupied with looking at the future and the vision and your purpose, you don't have time to be thinking about what's going on in your head and your mind. You tend to be focused on the bigger picture of your life. So when I started this book, that was my intention. But when I did the research, I found out that purpose is the cure for emotional wellness and being. So what I created in the book is a whole immersive experience where I take on my different personas because I'm Coach Nat, the coach. I'm also Natalie, the therapist. I'm
Mm-hmm.
also Natalie, the military girl.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, how do I marry all my different skill sets in a book? So I made it very immersive, where the color scheme from a therapy perspective was the blue and the purple. So the book is laid out in colors, in those soothing colors. There are sections where you checked in with Coach Nat. And
Mm-hmm.
Coach Nat is the tender coach who wants to listen. She's attentive. She's a clinician. And there are times when I need to give you some real advice in the book. It's the real talk with drill instructor Nat.
Right, right, right.
And there's so many elements of the book where I'm giving you advice. It's a workbook, by the way, but you're going through transformation. It's a journey. It's a 5-step journey where you're checking with the coach. You go to your next stop, and the coach that is teaching you another major lesson, and you're going through the exercises, and you keep going to different sections of the journey to the point when you're done, You have a blueprint how to live your life, how
Yeah.
to move from brokenness to being purpose driven.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sharing all the tips of health and wellness, water, how to drink water, what food to eat. It's like I give you a whole comprehensive, transformative approach to
Right.
your entire health and well being. So it gives you the clues to drop emotional stress, to drop all of that, drop all the hot things that's holding you back in your life, so you can become the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
So it's a whole immersive. It's immersive.
I love that because I find that in a lot of people, they have money problems because they have stress issues, and they have stress because they have money problems. And it's like a cycle, right? It's a big circle. I don't have money, so now I'm stressed. I'm stressed
Mhm.
because I don't have money. And then that stress leads to illness, right? To disease or
Mhm.
dis-ease, if you think about it, right?
Right.
In your body. It's a dis-ease in your body. And some people don't know that sometimes it comes as cancers, sometimes it comes as heart attacks, it can come as, all kinds of things. And that's one of the things that I love about being able to share in this forum, because we are here to give people those tools to see which one works for you.
Yeah.
Right. And I often tell my clients and even my friends is that here's the deal. If someone comes to me and says, "Hey, Saran, how do you build generational wealth?" Right? I can give you 15 different answers.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the deal. All 15 work. The question
Yeah.
is which one will work for you? And that's the same thing with stress management and all the
Yeah.
other things. Meditation works. Prayer works. Uh,
Yeah.
deep breathing. The breath works. Physical activity works. Yoga works. Riding your bike works. Walking your dog for a long walk. It
Mm-hmm.
all works. But the
Yeah.
question is, which one fits you and your personality, and how's it going to feed wherever you are, right? And
Yes.
and then you said something that, is kind of a hot topic. I see a lot of people talking about it now. And I think it's weird, but it's good. Everybody's talking about, oh, you're traumatizing me. That's traumatic. And some of it's over dramatic, right? But some of it's real from the perspective of we've all had some experiences with an S where we thought something was going to happen one way, it happened another. And
Mm-hmm.
we were sad, we were devastated, we were angry. And I'm not taking away from people who had real issues. I mean, you said you were in Afghanistan. Those things are traumatic, right? Being in a war zone, people have had sexual violence against them. There are all kinds of things that have the whole spectrum, right? So there's no
Mm-hmm.
downplaying that. But at
Yeah.
the same time, as people feel more free to talk about it, that seems to be lifting the veil
Yes.
of the pain. And you use the word suffering and silence, and people are coming out of that space of silence, that don't ask, don't tell. And
Mm.
this happened to me,
Mm.
and this is why I'm responding this way. And I don't know another way to respond.
Mm.
And one day I may decide to find another way to respond. But right now, this is what you get. Right. They're not using those words. Right. They're
Oh
not,
my.
they're not that they may not be that conscious about it. And and it depends on what area you're in. There's some people who say, oh, do the shadow work, get the shadow. I mean, every time I go on TikTok, they're selling me a shadow journal. I'm like, dude, you do that 20 years ago when I was
Oh.
trying to figure this out in therapy, and the lady gave me the Melody Beattie book and said, read Codependence No More. And that was it. She sent me home. But the work that people seem to be doing, right? And I use the word seem because so much so much seems to be real. People are given the persona that it's happening, but you don't really know until you experience a person and how they respond in new situations, or situations
Mm.
that they would have responded differently, right? Because we all have a narrative, right? If you go
Me too.
through your husband and maybe he's had an experience and he's grown, and but you don't go because you expect he's going to respond the way he used to. Right.
Precisely.
And then when you finally do, he's like, oh, well, okay, that's cool. And you're like, what happened to the guy that was going to do all this other stuff that you did before? Well, he's
Wow.
taken the time and he's grown and he's changed, right? And
Yes.
it's the same thing with us, but I think that we don't give ourselves enough grace to
Yes.
understand that if Natalie's grown and become a different person, then Saran can also have grown in a different way and become a different person. Now, everybody doesn't grow into a better person, but everybody grows.
That's a different
Everybody
conversation.
grows, right?
Yeah.
You get what you feed.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh my goodness.
You know, if you want a cat, keep putting cat food outside your house. I mean, it's one of those things, but I love that.
You touched on that. Can I add to what you just said?
Yeah.
Because it's so powerful. When you use the word trigger, I remember the theme of my life was that I always tell my husband, "You're triggering me, you're triggering me." And the truth was that he was triggering me because it was where I was at in my journey.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you suffer in silence for a very long time, and it goes back to being that having that awareness, that consciousness, a lot of us are consciously asleep, unconsciously asleep. There's a
Oh,
whole
I love that.
phase of that, right? So for me, certain sounds, which was true because, like I said, I was in Iraq. I
Mm-hmm.
was transplanted from a war zone back home within a matter of 2 weeks. I was in a war. It was in Iraq in one day, and in before you know it, I was in California, and before you know it, I was back home within 2 weeks. So there was no transition.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, mentally, I was in Iraq. So sounds and certain tones and certain, I was just constantly triggered in my environment. And I realized that I was living a paralyzed life. This was not an empowering life.
Mm-hmm.
To the point I had to go get help.
Mm-hmm.
I had to get help. And the crazy thing, I want our audience to know this. The healing journey is going to be painful at first. That's
Mm-hmm.
just the truth. And sometimes we don't want to dig deep and get into those things, but sometimes you got to free yourself to
Mm-hmm.
get the healing you truly need. And I remember when I was actually going to therapy, I didn't want to talk about all those things. I didn't want to get into that murky stuff because it would bring out certain emotions and I didn't want to deal with them.
Right.
And when
Don't
I
talk for
dealt
the
with it,
first 45 minutes, then the last 15 minutes
I
talk.
don't I don't want to deal with it. But
Right.
the beautiful thing it was that over time I was actually doing therapy and I was listening to the Joe Dispensers. I was doing my research and I was getting transformation and motivation and inspiration and transformation simultaneously. So for me, if you're stuck on a healing for 10 years, when are you going to be empowered to live your best life? So I was healing, but I was empowered at the same time to
Yeah.
the point where I can actually be on camera speaking as a person with PTSD, MST, as in military sexual trauma, and I'm saying that publicly for the first time without being emotional about it
Mm-hmm.
because healing has taken place, growth is taking place to the point where I could share my story because I want to contribute, I want to help someone else who may be stuck financially
Mm-hmm.
or emotionally or spiritually because of something someone did to them. And my trauma carried over into business
Yeah. Yeah.
because I didn't feel like I was good enough. Words from my past where you negative words. I was like, money, I can't make money. I'm not worthy of money. I'm not
Mm.
worthy of abundance because trauma makes you feel so low about yourself.
Absolutely.
But you can't let your circumstances be the king in your life. You
Mm-hmm.
got to be the one to rise up above your situation and take charge, not the circumstances, but let the better version of you, that vision of you, that version of you take charge. And I believe in a higher power. So my source comes from a higher power from God. So that gives me the source to keep charging forward when the negative thoughts like, oh, you're not good enough. Oh, you grew up poor. You're not, girl, what do you think you're doing? On
Right.
stage speaking like you're worth anything. Stop that voice and say,
Yeah.
listen, I deserve it. I'm worth it. I'm abundant. I am blessed exceedingly more abundantly than I can think or ask for. So there's a whole paradigm where you got to shift the paradigm and be more empowered to be the best version of yourself, which affects your finances, of course.
You know, you said so much. I had to get my pen and paper right now to remember to ask you because you were going on the road. But it's this.
Wow.
It's. First, I want to say, I'm so glad you were able to come through those situations, the military, sexual trauma, and the PTSD and all those things, because it's a testament to your strength that you were able to bring your spirit through that and say, no, I'm greater than that, right?
Yes.
And the thing is that the feeling of not being worthy is
Mm.
way more rampant than people feeling like they're worth something. And we can see that demonstrated in how people behave on social media.
Mm.
And a lot of people are looking for validation through the use of these tools. And I'm not saying they should not find validation, but the use of the tool can become addictive
Dopamine
in
rush.
in a negative way, right?
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, it's how we feel about ourselves that matters the most, not the likes and the smiles and the comments that we get. And it's one of those things, and I'm on social media, and I have to get to the point where I work with myself and say, it doesn't matter if people say congratulations, yes, no, whatever. If they get on and have a bad comment, I feel the same way when they get on and say a positive comment. I have to bring myself to a place of feeling neutral about it, because the
Mhm.
only opinion about me that matters is my own,
Yes.
because I'm the one that's with me, right? The God in me is the one that's with me, that says who I am and what I'm going to be, right? That's who tells me who I'm worthy. And one of my favorite people, and you probably listened to her on your
I
journey.
know where you're going.
You already know what I'm about to say.
Say it.
Lisa
Say it.
Nichols. She
What's it?
did the Lisa Nichols
Yes, yes, yes.
did the exercise, and I, like a crazy fool, did it too, because she said it worked for her. And when I did it, I felt amazing, right? And
Yeah.
she calls it the I see you exercise, where you
Mhm.
every day say to yourself, and I didn't do 7, I think I did 3 or some variation of it. I consider myself a bit of a practitioner, so I adjust things as I feel that they work best for me, right? That's where the power is, right?
There you go. There you
And
go.
I was doing that. I did it for like 30 to 60 days. I still have it hanging up. And I would get up and I would say, Saran, I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
And the first couple of times it was hard. I'm like, well, what are you proud of yourself for? And I would just keep, and I just kept doing it until I came up with stuff. And then all of a sudden, I started telling myself I was proud of things that I had done when I was little, when I was a
Wow.
kid. And I realized that little Saran needed to hear, I'm proud of you.
Mm.
The one that still lives inside me, right? Because we're, multi-dimensional creatures. I still, that person that I was as a kid needed to hear, I'm proud of you. And so I
Mhm.
just started having that conversation, and I started forgiving myself for things, right? Now, in the beginning, it was the same miscellaneous stuff that we all say. Someone say, how you feeling? Oh, I feel good. I have my health and strength, and God woke me up. Well, I went deeper as you do it every day. You can't look yourself in the mirror every day and say the same mundane thing when you have so much inside you. And so that exercise really, I did it last year actually.
Mhm.
Exercise really led me to a place of understanding that I never needed to hear anybody else's voice but my own. And I
Yeah.
was always the person I was waiting for to save me.
Mhm.
And I just love that you said that. And you mentioned the PTSD, and I stumbled across some writing. I forgot who it was, and I wrote it down. I was trying to be a good student and quote them, but I forgot who they were. But they changed the instead of it being post traumatic stress, they call it post traumatic growth syndrome,
Whoa, that's
where
powerful.
people go through these traumatic experiences, but they grow and they become better, and they do more, be more, have more. They just create a bigger life than you ever could have seen. And it seems like a no-brainer, right? Because years ago, Oprah had the episode years and years ago where she had 2 kids on the show, and they both turned out totally different, right?
Mhm.
One went right, one went left, one went the path we so-called good, and one so-called went the path we call bad, right? Same upbringing. And
Yeah.
same thing. Someone can have the same exact experience or very closely related experiences, and some go into a state of depression, anxiety, bad health, all those things. And it's not to say that the person who grew didn't experience that too. They
Yeah,
just decided not to stay there.
exactly. Exactly.
And
Exactly.
so I love that, I am sitting with someone who has post traumatic growth today. Post
Yeah.
traumatic growth syndrome, because you've risen above all those things and you're able to say, I have calm not just in my life, but I'm able to create a calm state in my finances. And, some of those financial tools and all the things that we do, none of them matter if your mindset is not right,
That's
because
true.
nothing will work for you until you will work for you.
Yes.
And so I'm really excited to have you. I'm looking forward to maybe you coming back. We could talk some more.
Yes.
But is there anything that you feel like the listeners just gotta know today before we go?
There's a lot I want to share. But I want to share something with you. I want to share a quick story.
Sure.
And the story is that when I was going through my own journey, and I remember just researching, like you said, all these top people whose name you mentioned. I've looked at their work and I've studied their work, and I'm looking at the Miles Monroe, and I'm looking at all the Lisa Nichols, I'm looking at the Joe Dispenza, I'm looking at all these top people in all these different areas. Carolyn Leaf in the field of psychology, all those areas. And I was applying the things I was learning to my own life, but I wasn't quite seeing the results as quickly as I wanted to. And I remember one day stepping into my office and I was just on the floor. I was angry, I was upset because my whole environment was just toxic. I'm trying to grow, but my environment is still toxic, and my mind was not transformed because my environment was too toxic to facilitate the growth, the journey I was actually trying to be on. And I remember stepping into my office and before you know it, I was just like angry. And I was just angry and I was like, you know what? I'm a good person. Why is everything in my life so bad? God, why is it that you're doing this to me? I'm a good person. I don't deserve that. Everything in my life is wrong. I cannot understand why my life is just bad. I just don't get it. And I was just on the floor just bawling, like, the ugly cry. I was on the floor with
Yeah.
an ugly cry. And the weirdest thing happened. A sense of peace came over me. And before you know it, I just felt like there was a voice that says, like, Natalie, I trust you to go through all the things you have gone through. They weren't pretty, they weren't ideal, but I trust that you could deal with that miscarriage, you could deal with that grief, you could deal with that trauma, you could deal with all of that. I trust you to go through it. Not this is the word, trust you to go through it. Not that it was caused by him. I trust you to go through it. And the reason why I trust you is that you're going to go back and you're going to
Mhm.
help the people who are veterans. You're going to help the people who are broken. You're going to help the people with miscarriages. You're going to help the people who are grief stricken. You could go back and help so many people in every area of their life because you've been through so much. And when I heard that, it was this peace, it was this calm, and a smile emerged on my face.
Mhm.
And I felt recharged and I felt energized that I am worthy to go back and help somebody else. Not because of me as a person, but because of my growth journey I am on. I
Mhm.
can relate to any single person.
Yeah.
And that's why when I see myself as the greatest activator, I know that I can activate. If you're broken, I know to activate you to your greatness. If you're suffering in silence, I know to activate you because of my clinical skills, my research as a coach. It's like I'm so multifaceted in so many different areas. I could help anyone who needs help.
Mhm.
And I'm like, the journey of the military didn't make sense. The journey of going to OT school didn't make sense. The journey of everything I've been through didn't make sense. But I realized that it was preparation.
Mhm. Mhm.
Preparation
Mhm.
to take me to my destiny and to make an impact in the lives of others. It's not about me at the end of the day. It's
Yeah.
about contributing and impacting.
Yeah.
So I want to share with your audience this. I love this. This is my favorite. This is what I came up with, and it motivates me every single day. And the words are arise and shine and be that light that you're meant to be, because only you could be the light for that person who needs your light. So when you notice that you are a light here, to
Mm-hmm.
make a difference in every area of your life. You cannot be stuck in brokenness. You can't be stuck in your past. You can't be stuck in your agony. You were meant for greatness and so much more.
Yes.
So if you want me to help you on your journey, if it's okay with Sharon, reach out to me.
Yes.
DM me on Facebook. And my website is
Yeah.
nataliespellman.com. And there you could fill out a purpose survey to see if you're living on purpose. You could actually go in the contact form and message me, and I'd be so glad to reach out to you and help you in the way that I can help you.
Yeah.
I have an online program coming up next week, a masterclass. If you want to learn more, just reach out to me, and I'm here to serve. I'm here to make an impact. An impact will translate into your finances and every area of your life.
Yes.
I'm here to serve you. Thank you.
I love, Natalie, I love it because I think that the service to others is, my the rent we pay to be here. That's not my quote. That was Martin Luther King, I think. And
Yes,
the thing is at the end of the day, it's who we serve. Even if not, you're not a motivational speaker or a coach. The work that you do with your family, you're doing in service. The work you do at your job, you're doing in service. The work you do in your community, you're doing in service. And so we're here to motivate you to do those things the right way, and I'm here to help you get your money right.
yes,
And at the end of the day, we will motivate you, but you have to make the decision that you want to go on the journey. You may not even have to, you don't even have to feel worthy, because you may only find that in the process
yes,
that you will find that worthiness. And so we bring joy to each and every one. Natalie, I'm just overwhelmed. I'm so excited to have you. I can't wait to have you on again. And you've already given your contact information, and I'm looking forward to connecting with you. And I'm going to put your information on our on the in my email to everyone and on the post, so that they can get your book too, and
yes,
and get on the journey, because we need as much of this information as we can, because all perspectives matter, because those different perspectives can help to bring someone from the basement to the first floor, or to
yes.
the fifth floor, or to the 12th floor, or to the penthouse. It just depends on where you are already in your journey. So I can't wait to have you back. This has been amazing, Natalie. I thank you for joining us. And thank you, everyone, for coming back every week. We will be back here. I have more amazing guests for you to come on to Chaos and Calm and your finances, so that we can get your money right. But I'm your girl, Saran, and I'll be back again next week, same time. But peace, love, and light. Let's get your money right. Bye.